Welcome to the SQN Education, Politics, Society. For the first time you joined in the program, please subscribe to the channel, like, share and comment your opinion with everyone. Today, we introduce to you a subject, the dictatorship. Hopefully these videos will help you in life, work and study. Now, let's get started. A dictatorship is a non-democratic government, usually under the control of a single leader or group, that controls a country. Through repression of dissent and disallowance of alternative political factions. Dictatorship are always authoritarian and sometimes outright totalitarian, demanding the obedience of citizens, controlling how they express themselves, promoting support through propaganda and terror, and torture, attack, imprison, exile or outright kill anyone who opposes their opinions and rule. The secret police are a long-standing tactic of totalitarian repression. They can justify the measures they take by claiming to promote internal stability, saying they are protecting citizens from internal or external threats, or using any other interpretation. Whether they believe these explanations or not varies. Dictatorship can take many different forms, not all of them mutually exclusive. Dictatorship can be formed by a military coup that overthrows the previous government. The power structures of dictatorship including a single leader or a small group of leaders, the exercise of power with few limitations, limited political pluralism, and limited mass mobilization. The dictator exercises most or total power over the government and society, but sometimes elites are necessary to carry out the dictator's rule. They form an inner circle, making up a class of elites that hold a degree of power within the dictatorship and receive benefits in exchange for their support. They may be military officers, party members, or friends or family of the dictator. Elites are also the primary political threats of a dictator, as they can leverage their power to influence or overthrow the dictatorship. Elites must also compete to wield more power than one another, but the amount of power held by elites also depends on their unity, factions or divisions among the elites will mitigate their ability to bargain with the dictator, resulting in the dictator having more unrestrained power. The opposition to a dictatorship represents all of the factions that are not part of the dictatorship and anyone that does not support the regime. Organized opposition is a threat to the stability of a dictatorship, as it seeks to undermine public support for the dictator and calls for regime change. A dictator may address the opposition by repressing it through force. Include current and former members of the dictator's inner circle. Totalitarianism is a variation of dictatorship characterized by the presence of a single political party and more specifically, by a powerful leader who imposes personal and political prominence. Power is enforced through a steadfast collaboration between the government and a highly developed ideology. A totalitarian government has total control of mass communications and social and economic organizations. How many types of dictatorship are there? A military dictatorship, or a military regime, is a type of dictatorship in which power is held by one or more military officers. Military dictatorship are led by either a single military dictator, known as a strongman, or by a council of military officers known as a military junta. They are most often formed by military coups or by the empowerment of the military. Through a popular uprising in times of domestic unrest or instability, military dictators are under constant threat of removal by their fellow military officers, and counter-coups are common against military regimes that fail to maintain support. Military dictatorship are less involved in political affairs than other regimes, with their policy mainly directed toward benefiting the military as an institution. Military rule is maintained by force more so than in other regimes, though military dictators often create separate security forces to maintain political control independently from the military. One-party dictatorship are governments in which a single political party dominates politics. Single-party dictatorship are one-party states in which only the party in power is legalized, sometimes along with minor allied parties, and all opposition parties are banned. Dominant party dictatorship or electoral authoritarian dictatorship or one-party dictatorship in which opposition parties are nominally legal but cannot meaningfully influence government. One-party dictatorship are more stable than other forms of authoritarian rule, as they are less susceptible to insurgency and see higher economic growth. Ruling parties allow a dictatorship to more broadly influence the populace and facilitate political agreement between party elites. Due to the structure of their leadership, one-party dictatorship are significantly less likely to face civil conflict, insurgency, or terrorism than other forms of dictatorship. The use of ruling parties also provides more legitimacy to its leadership and elites than other forms of dictatorship and facilitates a peaceful transfer of power at the end of a dictator's rule. Personalist dictatorship are regimes in which all of the power lies in the hands of a single individual. They differ from other forms of dictatorship in that the dictator has greater access to key political positions and the government's treasury, and they are more commonly subject to the discretion of the dictator. Personalist dictators may be members of the military or leaders of a political party, but neither the military nor the party exercises power independently from the dictator. In personalist dictatorship, the elite corps are usually made up of close friends or family members of the dictator, who typically handpicks these individuals to serve their posts. Personalist dictatorship are more common in sub-Saharan Africa due to less established institutions in the region. There has been an increase in personalist dictatorship since the end of the Cold War. Personalist dictators typically favor loyalty over competence in their governments and have a general distrust of intelligentsia. A personalist dictator will manage these appointees by segmenting the government so that they cannot collaborate. The result is that such regimes have no internal checks and balances, and are thus unrestrained when exerting repression on their people, making radical shifts in foreign policy, or starting wars with other countries. Many personalist regimes will install open ballots to protect their regimes and implement heavy security measures and censorship for those whose personal preferences do not align with the values of the leader. Personalist dictatorship also experience growth differently, as they often lack the institutions or qualified leadership to sustain an economy. Absolute monarchy is a form of monarchy in which the sovereign is the sole source of political power, unconstrained by constitutions, legislatures or other checks on their authority. Absolute monarchies include Brunei, Eswatini, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Vatican City, and the individual emirates composing the United Arab Emirates, which itself is a federation of such monarchies, a federal monarchy, though absolute monarchies are sometimes supported by legal documents, they are distinct from constitutional monarchies, in which the authority of the monarch is restricted, e.g. by legislature or unwritten customs, or balanced by that of other officials, such as a prime minister, as is in the case of the United Kingdom, or the Nordic countries. The system of raising pigs for meat is a one-party dictatorship. This regime has the following features: no right to vote for leaders. Do not comment or speak ill of the leader. No freedom of speech. You have the right to speak, but whether we have the right to arrest you or not is up to us. Do not gather in large groups unless you are a reactionary. You have the right to demand, but how to resolve it is up to us. We allow members of the organization to engage in corruption but must return the money to the party. What is a dictator like? Dictators are people who think that only they are talented and capable. They give themselves the right to control others, so they decide everything by themselves, without listening to other people's opinions or analysis. They often rely on violence or imposition without listening to the opinions and reactions of others. Therefore, their will be expressed subjectively. Selfishly, their interests and power will also be placed at the highest level. Thank you for watching the videos of SQN program. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like, and share this information for many people to know. See you again in the next videos. Thank you very much.